It's been a wee while, eh? Yeah, so I was gonna do like a where have I been video, but I decided that wasn't necessary. Who really cares? I mean, it's only been a couple months. I'm not like a proper YouTuber, so I figured that that kind of video wasn't really, um, there wasn't really much of a point in making that. Um, and plus, that can really be summed up in one thing. I started college again, so that's been taking up most of my time. Um, that started sort of. To be fair, I mean, that wasn't 3 months ago. That was just over a month ago that started. Before that, I mean, anytime I take a break from doing videos, it's never usually deliberate anyway. I mean, this video was a video idea from the Prog Corner 3 months ago. I intended to make this video 3 months ago, um, and then I just never got round to it. So apologies for all zero of you who have been waiting for this. This big comeback. But yeah, if you haven't noticed already, glasses are new. That was a couple of weeks ago that started. I got a new guitar. How pretty is she? She doesn't have a name, but you know, pretty. And obviously college, as I mentioned, and I played live, and so I might leave a wee snippet of that here, and you get to hear that, which is pretty cool in that video, or yeah, those videos. So this video is 10 comfort albums. This was going around all the sort of vinyl community like 3 months ago, as I say, around about the time that I stopped uploading. Like I say, that wasn't deliberate. So I'm going to leave an honourable mention here to Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, simply because jazz as a genre of music is so incredibly comforting. It fits this perfectly. But I don't think I come to that as often as the rest of these albums when it comes to comfort albums. So number 10 might be an odd one. I mean, a lot of these may be odd albums for people, but 10 is Viva Hate by Morrissey. And Morrissey is really good for this because he's very mopey, I suppose, but I like that. That's a big part of why I like his music, and obviously part of why I like the Smiths and stuff like that as well. But I don't feel like the Smiths' music, although Viva Hate is the closest to the Smiths you're going to get from Morrissey, from what I've heard at least, it's far more depressing for some reason. I feel like the actual music itself is more moody compared to the Smiths, whereas it's obviously the jangly guitars from Johnny Marr. I mean, this album has like Late Night Maudlin Street and what is that called? Angel We Go Down Together. You've got Suede Head, Margaret on the Guillotine. That's an excellent song though. It's all very, very moody on this album, and to me that's why I seek comfort in moody music. A lot of my favourite albums are all very moody. When people say they have like depressing playlists, that's just my normal playlists. For me, it's like, do I have an upbeat playlist? If I was to make that, it would be tough. Number 9 is Please by Pet Shop Boys. I've said this a million times, Please was the first album I ever heard, and it's a sort of strange mix of moody and upbeat, I suppose. I think because you've got Suburbia on there, you've got West End Girls, which everybody knows, you have Opportunities, you also have Love Comes Quickly, and Love Comes Quickly was one of my favourites when I was growing up. Again, it's one of the slower ones on the album, because you've got like Tonight Is Forever on there. Later Tonight was one of my favourites as well. Very moody, sort of piano ballad. And Why Don't We Live Together is the closer on there as well. I know a lot of people don't. I was going to say a lot of people don't love Please. It's not that they don't love it. I don't think it's among the top sort of 3, top 5 for a lot of people who are Pet Shop Boys fans at least. For me, it's definitely top 3. and I don't know, that could just be my childhood playing into that. Number 8, Actung Baby by U2. I think I've told the story on the U2 video. If you haven't seen that, then you can go and find it on my channel. There was somebody that I used to be very close to when I was like 10, 11. Then when we fell out, I was listening to this album a lot, and I think that's why it's still up here. I'd still seek it out as a comfort album. You've got So Cruel, Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses, One, Love Is Blindness, and then you've got some other ones that aren't so moody, like The Fly or Zoo Station. So it's a good mix. It's not all out moody, a bit like Please in that sense, but comforting. Number 7, going to lean more into the moody side now. Pink Moon by Nick Drake. Although this isn't my favourite Pink Moon album. Hello. Although this isn't my favourite Nick Drake album, Five Leaves Left takes that crown. This is definitely the one that I go to when I'm in a shit mood, basically. So front to back, I mean, yeah, there isn't an upbeat song on here. I don't know. I think Brighter Later might be the closest to upbeat that Nick Drake gets. I mean, it's a more fleshed out sound musically for him on there. And Northern Sky is like an actual love song, as far as I'm aware. So, very rare that you get that from him. Number 6, another one from my childhood, Parachutes by Coldplay. It's another go-to, really, particularly when I was younger, not so much now, I suppose, but it's still definitely up there. I would still consider it to be like among the top 10 at least, just for the amount of times that it was there when I was younger. These days it's some of the ones that you're going to get later on in this video, but Parachutes, I mean, obviously I grew up with that to the year 2000 that released. It's one of the few albums that was on my iPod that I used to listen to religiously. Number 5 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. This was the first Beatles album I ever heard, and I'm unsure why this is a comforting album for me. When I think of the actual songs themselves, they shouldn't be, I don't think, but for some reason I find it comforting. I guess I probably don't really need to say much more on that if I don't really particularly understand it myself. Maybe some other people listen to it and see it that way, but I'm not really sure why it's quite so high. It's just when I was thinking of the albums and I had 3 revised lists, this landed on 2 of them. It could just be a nostalgia thing. Like, it was the first Beatles album, and obviously it's the Beatles. I grew up with the Beatles, so it could be like that, where, like I said earlier, with Please by the Pet Shop Boys, it's like a sort of comforting because it's familiar. So I'm not sure. Number 4 is After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. And this one is it's mostly the actual sound of the album that I really like for this. Obviously a lot of it's like sort of acoustic, it's unplugged, I suppose, because you've got the piano songs, or the piano based songs I should say. The only one that doesn't really fall into that, I would say, is Southern Man. That sort of leans into the more folk rock type of thing, I'd say, the most at least. I feel like when that comes up on the album track listing, there's quite a big contrast between the rest of the songs, actually. So outside that, the rest of the songs will definitely fit the bill here. Number 3, now this might be surprising. Well, actually, I'm not going to mention that. But number 3 is Disintegration. Obviously, The Cure are one of my favourite bands. and I would consider Disintegration to be their best album. Um, and the comfort factor is why I fell in love with it so much the first time I heard it. I mean the track, I mean the whole track listing is incredible, but there was a section between I want to say sort of, I think it was Prayers for Rain, and between Prayers for Rain and Disintegration, the title track, maybe even as far as Untitled, blew me away. And obviously Disintegration is not a short album by any means, it's nearly an hour and 20 minutes, so to know that that is this high up for somebody like me, it's an incredible album. Number 2 is similar in the sense that it's fairly long. It's Roller Coaster by Red House Painters. Now, honestly, I feel like this album changed my life. I know there was a trend going around 20 albums or 10 albums that changed your life a few months ago as well, sort of start of the year type of thing. And this, I believe this must have been on there. If it wasn't on there, I don't know how I never included it. I don't remember what my list was, but it's I think it's considered slowcore as a style of music, and it's pretty self-explanatory, I would say. But it's Mark Kozelek's lyricism and the accompaniment that he has with that lyricism paints a picture so well, and it's very, very emotional. And anybody who's sort of into alt rock or maybe into slower, moodier music and hasn't listened to both Red House Painters or Sun Kil Moon, listen to either this album or Ghost of the Great Highway. That's all I'm going to say. And number 1 is Slowdive Souvlaki. This album, again, it's less lyricism, it's more the mood of the album. I mean, it's shoegaze, but it's so atmospheric. Souvlaki Space Station comes to mind with that. I always, it's going to be a bit of a weird sort of way to picture it, but I always imagine it sort of, I don't know how many people have seen the first Pokemon movie, but when Mewtwo is in that sort of tank thing, when he's submerged and they're all doing scans on him and stuff, all the scientists are doing scans on him, I always picture that when that song is sort of climaxing, I suppose. I don't know how to describe it, it's so weird. Dagger is obviously very depressing. I mean, the whole album, when you listen to the lyrics, I'm pretty sure it is basically just a breakup album because Neil and Rachel had just broke up, I believe. I might not be quite so accurate on that, but it's the overall atmosphere of this album that counts above all else. And that's why I would consider it to be my number 1 comfort album. The moods that they managed to bring out of me just using these guitar tones. I don't think any other album does it quite so well. Even in the shoegaze scene, I mean, I love Loveless, but it doesn't do what this album does, and that's why it's number 1. So yeah, I think. Well, I don't think I should say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'll hopefully be making videos again, fairly consistently. Because it wasn't my plan to stop making videos for 3 months anyway. I've been on a bit of a run this year compared to any other year. I also hit 100 subs, so I want to say thanks to everybody who helped me do that as well. It was also like right after that I stopped, and I feel like I shouldn't have. I'm still working on the whole 100 albums thing. That's the plan. Going to split it into, it's going to be a series, 10 video series, 10 albums per video, you get it. I'm going to do that. So the idea is to do that on the run up to Christmas. And in the meantime, I'm just going to try and make sure I have my order set. And And between now and then, I do have other videos planned to make. It's just a case of getting around to them really and sitting here and actually recording them. I also did a different angle this time. I don't know if it was obvious, but I usually have the camera further to my right here. Um, yeah. So I don't know. Let me know what you think of all that. And obviously leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know if you've missed me. Highly doubt it. Um, and yeah, so that's it from me. And I'll hopefully see you all soon. Cheers.